So welcome everybody to this webinar. We're so excited to have you here today. I'm Emmy. I'm joined by Lior and Janae, my lovely teammates, and we are going to talk about how to navigate your developer-specific issues in any of the Wix tools. So just as a preface, thank you all so much. If you have ever submitted a ticket or reported a bug, we really, really appreciate it. It definitely helps the product be better, and it is really so impactful that you guys are doing that. So we wanted to make that process a little more understandable for you guys so you know what to expect and how to get through it as efficiently as you can. So hopefully this helps. The slides and any of the links that we have in here will be posted later on in the Discord community and also the forum, so keep an eye out for that. Unfortunately, we probably won't be able to take a lot of questions live, but if you leave a question in Discord after or in the YouTube live stream chat, we're happy to address them later on. This is a webinar that was born out of community demand and people expressing their honest frustrations with the system to us. So thanks to everybody who contributed to that, and I truly hope this is helpful for you all. So if you don't know me already, my name is Emmy, and I am a developer advocate on the developer relations team. So I make sure the company and the product teams have a good relationship with you guys, the users of the product. So you might know me from the Discord if you have ever frequented that community, and I am going to be talking to you guys about some things that I see in the community that might help for people to know before they report an issue. And if you are already a Wix Developer Pro and you already know these things, hopefully this is a brief refresh for you, and please bear with me, it will be short. So this is specifically to clarify, mostly for uh, like blocks and Wix site developers. If you're using Headless or another tool, it might look a little bit different for you. But here are some of the tools that at Wix we provide for you to debug. You probably already have seen the preview mode developer console. That is a great place to check for logs, console log everything. Know that you can also tick off what kind of things you want to see in the logs. And another helpful tool is functional testing in your backend. So to do functional testing, just go to any of your backend files. Next to your backend functions that you export, you will have a little blue play icon that you can click, and then it will bring up this panel where you can test and isolate a backend function without having live data go through it, and set your own parameters to test. And then there's also, if you do have a test site or a live site and you still want to see the front end logs, you can open the developer console and check that there is a JavaScript file name in the first line, and you can search for that in your DevTools and then see your logs there. Wix Logs is truly fantastic. So if you haven't used Wix Logs before, you can find it by clicking Logging Tools in the Developer Console, or in the dashboard, it's under Developer Tools and then Wix Logs, all the way scrolling to the bottom of the dashboard. So this is a great dashboard for you to have a live stream of your logs incoming. With any live site or previewed sites, and you can control if you want to pause the stream, if you want to clear it, you can see everything live with the payload data and also the metadata. However, it does not save your logs to the cloud. So if you want to do that, please consider Google Cloud Logs, which is a way to save these logs for later that you, in case something happens in logs while you're away. Another helpful tip is sounds obvious, but double checking the docs. There's a lot of really good information. Sometimes they talk about the errors you might get. My favorite page on this is the Wix data error codes article, which is going to tell you all the WDE errors and what they mean. There's so many of them, and it's really helpful. Also, if you are asking for help from either us or the community, that you provide whatever errors that you're getting, and then so we can take a look. External tools are also really helpful. If you're working with third-party APIs, Postman is really great for testing those. Just if you're not sure that if it's a API issue or if it's a Wix related issue. It's a good sanity check. Similarly, webhook.site is great for app webhooks if you are an app developer. So, bug prevention is also important. So before you have the bug, it's important to check before when you click publish, actually, it'll give you a little pop-up if you have any build errors, and it'll ask you if you're like, sure, we found a build error and we have added the information in the build.log file. You can find it right there in under developer tools. If you do have build errors, you can publish anyways, but it's always good to check and make sure your build is building. Site branches and test sites are also really helpful if you need to isolate some sort of issue, or if you want to, not mess up your live site, but still test with some live data. And lastly, community channels are super, super helpful. If you have an issue that maybe people have already had, it's always great to check if anyone else is talking about the same things. So to introduce, if you're not already in the community, we have the Discord, which is for casual discussions, feedback, emotional support if you need to vent to your fellow devs about anything at all. We host bi-weekly office hours on Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time right now, but on Thursdays. So this is a great space for you to voice any feedback you have. Sometimes we have special guests from the Wix teams, like someone from the MCP team will come talk about the MCP. But usually it's just our lovely community, and you can brag about something you built. You can ask for feedback or how other people would implement something. Highly recommend joining the office hours at some point. We also have special developer announcements and events if there are any changes to products or any webinars like this. We will be posting on the Discord always. And there's also the Wix Studio forum where similarly we have announcements, communities, discussions, and feedback, but it's also really good for search. So whenever I'm stuck on something, I still Google like my modules aren't importing Wix Studio Forum, and that usually will get me really, really good results, and it's always good to check before you ask other people. And also another popular question that we get is, two popular questions is, can I do XYZ on Wix with the APIs? And second question is, how do I do XYZ with the Wix APIs? And I understand we have so many things in the documentation, it can be really hard to determine like whether something is feasible or not or find the right things. And that's why we have the Docs AI assistant to help you guys answer any of those kinds of questions. So this you can find on any of the documentation pages in the bottom right corner usually. And if you're using the MCP, you can also prompt, it's also connected to that. So you can also ask similar questions to the MCP. So some guidelines for participating in the community. So always do the steps I mentioned before posting, just so you make sure that you're not being redundant and asking something that's already been answered before. After you do all those steps and you still have something that's not working and you're pretty sure it's a bug. So for instance, I have something that was working and then all of a sudden today I didn't touch it. It's not working anymore. That's probably a bug. File a ticket. That will be your fastest way to resolution. If you ask in the community uh, about this bug, most likely I will also ask you to file a ticket anyways or help you do so. So all roads for bugs end in tickets. Sadly, it's unavoidable, but we want to make sure you have the best experience as you can with it. And also make sure other people can benefit from your conversation. So we do have Wix employees in the communities, but make sure that you're not just asking like, hey, my ticket number is this. Can you have a look at it? Uh, Fine to ask, but make sure like nobody else knows about what that issue is. So ask like, oh, I submitted a ticket about this issue. Here's what I had, and here are the results. And then if you do submit a ticket on an issue, it would be great if you, after it's resolved, or you find a workaround or something, go back to it, even if no one responded, post any updates that you might have so that other people, if they're facing the same problem, can also learn from it. And if I haven't convinced you enough already, the benefits of participating in the community, why you might want to be a little more than just a lurker. You can learn from a community of incredible devs with so many experiences. A lot of them are good friends with each other. And I think this, especially if you work remotely or kind of in an isolated environment, or if you're just a singular freelancer, this community is so important to advance yourselves as devs. You can also help other people resolve their issues faster, which also helps me. So I can take a look at maybe other feedback that I can help with. And then you get first dibs on improving the dev features. And we do pay a lot of attention to the feedback that we get in the community. You don't have to be a certain type of partner. You don't have to be um, like XYZ level of developer. You just have to be an upstanding community member, and we voice your opinions and feedback honestly, and we will do our best to take that somewhere productive. And we make sure to check all of the dev feedback and regular channels for feedback whenever we can. So this is super important to us, and this webinar is a result of some feedback that we have gotten in the community about the support system in general being confusing. So we do have visibility from the team, even if the people working on, say, like the e-commerce product are not in the communities, we will always like make sure the right feedback goes to the right people. And with that said, I'm going to pass it on to our main event, Lior, who is going to tell us if all of these things don't work and you have to submit a ticket, how does that work and what does it look like? So take it away, Lior.
Thank you, Amy. Hi, everyone. I'm Lior, and I'm from the support team. And I'm taking your user voice to the product team and usability, feature request, feedback. And I'm also in charge of developing a new training for support on blocks for blocks and Wix code. I'm going to talk about how to report an issue to customer care when the main goal is that you will know what exactly and what information we need to get to the right entry point quicker, and also how to get um, to talk with a chatbot and get to us faster. So what we're going to cover today is when to contact support, what information is required, we will talk about the chatbot, as I said, and how the follow-up process is going. Um, Before I will start, I just will say that we have many different products in Wix, and sometimes it takes time to understand what is the root cause of your issue. If it's something broken in the code, in the API, or something specific on, for example, stores or the CMS. So some guidelines. There are two cases to contact support. As MSA said, that documentation is a tool that you can use, especially the AI assistant, that you can get some information, the link, and also the community in the Discord, and any troubleshooting steps that Amy mentioned before. And also when you have any critical issue, your site is down, you lose some data, any security issue, any the payment failure, any something that related to the live sites, of course you can contact us whenever you want. It's just like some guidelines. And what do we need? Sometimes that we have an issue, like that you have an issue that your code is broken. We need to know exactly what happened. When did it happen? If something was working before and now it's not working, if it's sometimes or always broken, and the steps to recreate, so we can follow and investigate it better. Um, and to reduce the back and forth between us and you. And what was the expected behavior? Like, what is the expected behavior, and what is now, like how it works now? Second. Okay. It's very important that you also mention the environment. Like, for example, if it work in some browser, it's work, and some browser it doesn't. If it's recreated on Windows or Mac or both, it's important for us also because we need to understand, like, if the issue occurs only on one specific things, or like in general, like all the devices. And the most important thing is like one of the most important thing is screenshots and videos. It will help us to really understand the steps you're doing to recreate your issue, so we can move forward to other team. And if you have any errors, console errors, network errors, any request ID, the Janae also will talk about how to get it in a few more minutes. Here is a summary of what do we need. And now I will show you the flow on the chatbot. Okay, so you can just Google it, contact Wix customer care or contact support Wix, and click on the blue button, start a chat. The most faster that you will get to the right place is to write that I have an issue with Velo. And I will say that we understood that the AI chatbot that's good for other products, it's not so good for code. So what we have for coders is half manual and half AI. So Amy, can you click please? Yes. So here you have like the options. You have a link to the AI assistant and to this Discord. And this for option is if you have any issue with Velo, you will click the first one. The second one is for apps. And for like public apps, it will be the third. And the fourth is for Alice. So for this example, please click to the first one. Yeah, the first one. You. So just for the example, click on getting started with Velo. And you will get some resources. Please click on the first one, onboarding to Velo and best practices. Okay, and more information about Velo. Okay, so you will get some resources. You can check if it's something that will help for you on what your experience or what you're asking. And can you please go back? Yeah, and click if it's wasn't helpful, the resource wasn't helpful and you need support, click on no and continue to support. Yeah, thanks. So now you will need to enter your name of the site and okay, so now you can describe all the things that we talked before. You can add a file on the right, yeah, exactly there, and you can search for which file you can add to the chat after you click on it. Oh, okay, thank you. After you add all the description of your issue, you will just submit a ticket to support, and you will get to the right entry point and the right team that support all the code issues. Um, Amy, can you go back to the presentation? Thank you. So what going on after? You can see all your tickets on the workspace on the customer care tickets under this tab, and you can see also what is the status of them, if it's still open, if it's something that reported as a bug, or if it's closed. And the follow-up, if you need any follow-up or asking more questions regarding your issues, you go into your mail, you send a follow-up question, and then we can answer you on this specific issue. Okay, so I'm moving to Janae to talk about how you get all this information that we need to investigate.
Awesome. Thank you, Lior. Hey, everyone. I am Janae, and I'm a QA analyst on the customer care team. Essentially, as customer care QA, we are responsible for triaging the bugs and reporting them directly to the dev teams. So, the escalation or just getting to support, if there is a bug, it's inevitably going to end up with our team if it's dealing with Velo or blocks. So I just wanted to touch base on what our workflow was like as far as from the support side once you have reported a bug. So, as far as our workflow goes, obviously, first things first, we want to make sure that we're understanding your issue, right? Helps reduce investigation time. This helps clear out any confusion. The information that we showed in the previous slides of what we need is really important for us because that's what inevitably helps us understand what the underlying issue is. And obviously, reproducing the issue is of utmost importance for us. One thing that you guys can do that would for sure help us is if you send us a cloned copy of your site. So, for example, you have a production site or you're working on a site for a client and you have an issue. We highly recommend sending us a cloned copy of it. That way we can reproduce from our end without affecting your live production sites. Some really, really helpful information to have, as mentioned earlier, is obviously the request ID, right? This thing is like the holy grail for us. It's really helpful for the dev teams that will inevitably be fixing whatever issue has been reported. And it just includes a lot of information. So it's essentially a stack trace that will help us pinpoint the exact location of your issue. And it provides us a list of like function calls and internal error and exception messages. So again, this piece of information here is really important. I'll show you guys how to get that in a second. But another thing I also wanted to mention was a HAR file. Now, this is very, very important when we cannot reproduce an issue. Um, Many times, things might be specific to a device or a specific environment or a specific browser even. So getting this HAR file, which essentially is just a JSON formatted log of all the records of HTTP requests and responses, right? You recreate your issue, you record this log, and you send us this information. Really, really helpful for us, for the devs as well. So we can kind of just see the flow and pinpoint where something went wrong when we can't reproduce. We also included an article here. So after I do the demo and you guys forget, you can actually just take a look at that link there and it will show you how to get the information like the request ID that we need. And one more thing before the demo that I did want to touch on is for API calls, right? It's a bit different. If you're having issues with any API calls, sending us the header and body is very important and very helpful. That way we can reproduce the issue on our end as well, right? So we want to make sure that like the format of the body and things like that are correct. So sending us exactly what you're using to make that call is extremely helpful. So we're gonna move on to a quick demo of this is getting the request ID, right? So we have some functions set up with some buttons. The first thing we want to do is open that network tab and trigger the function. So make the call to the function, making sure you're in that network tab. Once we do that, you'll see the log of that function. If you click on the specific function or API call that you need, making sure you're in that headers tab, you scroll all the way to the bottom, and that's where you'll see the XWix request ID. You go ahead and copy this and paste it to us, and we will love you forever for getting that to us. So that's the request ID. And I just want to do a quick demo of the HAR file. Same concept. Want to make sure that that network tab is open. You also want to make sure that it's recording. Make sure that little button is red and click the preserve log checkbox. All right, this will make sure that we get the full response and request chain. Go ahead and trigger the function or reproduce the issue, right? Whatever the issue is, reproduce the thing while it's being recorded. And then you're going to click that export icon there in the top right corner. Once you do that, you're going to save it to your computer. Now, as far as sending it, oftentimes the file is too big to send to us. So, what I would recommend is uploading it to a file sharing service like Google Drive or Dropbox or something like that. And you can send us the link. And another important thing to note is to make sure that the link is public so we can view it. So, just wanted to touch bases on some common difficulties that, we may experience on support side, because obviously dealing with, developer related products can be challenging. There's a lot of moving components and a lot of information, to understand. One of the big ones is, we keep saying request ID because it's really, really, really important. So not having this does make it harder for us to understand and reproduce the issue. Because again, it just gives us so much information on the internal side as to what is going on. Another common difficulty is lacking the requested information, right? So we request the information we need because it will reduce the investigation time. And, we understand for sure that bugs are frustrating, but just getting the requested information in a timely manner will 100% help reduce the investigation time and allow for a faster resolution. So, it might seem like a lot, but it's really, really helpful for us when it comes to understanding what the bug is and finding a resolution for it. Another common difficulty is, expectations beyond what our responsibilities are, what we're actually capable of doing. So just I guess making sure, we understand the difference between, for example, a code review, right? That's something that we don't necessarily have the resources to do. So things like helping you optimize your code or helping you implement, your own custom functionality, is not necessarily something we do in support. For that, we have the awesome forums, that Emmy was mentioning and Discord channels and things like that, that you can for sure get that kind of information. Um, we 100% have to debug the issues, but as far as reviewing your code, seeing that, you're following best practices is not something, that we have the resources to do. Another one is imposter syndrome, right? Working with anything dev related or code, it's real. There's so many APIs and functions and methods, so much information. So it can feel overwhelming at times. And we are, in fact, human. We're not AI bots. So just touching bases and sharing with you guys that, we also experience a bit of imposter syndrome as well. But again, that feeling of euphoria once you figure out the issue and you resolve it, is unmatched. It's amazing. And, it's something that can 100% help others, as you go. And another one here is improving our workflow internally, right? So this webinar here, 100% helps us improve our workflow. We thoroughly enjoy and appreciate your feedback, because I think it just makes the process easier for everyone. So I wouldn't say it's necessarily a difficulty, but just mentioning that we do hear the feedback and we do love applying it as well to make sure that we improve our processes. All right, so we did get a few questions from you guys, and we wanted to go ahead and answer them. They were some really good questions, by the way. The first question here is, what improvement would you most like to see from partners reporting tickets? Um, so I know we just shared with you guys the escalation note, right? If we can see this implemented in the escalations, especially related to like developer issues, that would be amazing because again, it's going to give us the relevant information and it's going to cut down and reduce the amount of back and forth that we have to do, right? If we get that information in the initial escalation, we can for sure save time in finding a resolution. Next question we have is, what can you not do in customer care? So as mentioned, we can't do code reviews. So, anything that you want to like, I guess, optimize or improve or implement, reaching out in the community forum, is the best place to go. You can search it for, information that people may have asked before, or, you can also share what you've learned through your process of making something work. Uh, Another thing to mention that we can't really do, or it's more so of a limitation, is testing flows that require payments to be processed, right? Yeah, it's not something we really have the resources to do, which is why in those kinds of scenarios, the request ID is extremely important because if you can get that, let's say from a previous transaction or a customer's transaction, that request ID will be able to show us what could have possibly gone wrong. So this question here, do I need to isolate my issue in a new site or Blocks app or on a live site? Um, if you can, because this whole thing is actually just a really good troubleshooting step, right? If you can isolate the issue on a new site Blocks app, that's fantastic for us because that will kind of I guess make it more apparent and more obvious to us what the issue is, right? Now, if you can't do so, if you try to do it on a new site or a new block set, for example, but it doesn't reproduce, then it might be something specific to your live site. So, just mentioning that it's a really good troubleshooting step before contacting support. It will give you a lot of information as far as like what the specific issue is. So I would say yes, for sure. Testing out the specific function or specific piece of whatever it is you're having an issue on a new site, a clean site, would be really, really helpful. Next question is, how do you test our live sites? First things first, we always ask for permission to test live sites. So, if it's something that you don't mind us doing, what I would also recommend is granting permission within the initial escalation, right? If you let us know it's okay to test beforehand, again, that's going to reduce the correspondence from our end, and we can go ahead and do so. And the steps that you provide to reproduce the issue are going to be the same steps that we're going to be using to troubleshoot, right? So just getting all that information in that escalation note to us, along with permission if it's not something that's reproduced on a new site, is definitely going to help all of us, both customer care and you guys. Now this question I love, right? Is it worth reporting minor bugs I can find workarounds for? 1 billion%. Yes. Even if it's a minor bug, it's worth reporting, simply because we are always working on improving our products. And the issue that you're experiencing, someone else can be experiencing it as well. So, rather than ignoring it or letting it linger and, get more reports for it, we definitely rather fix it as soon as we're aware of it, so no one else has to experience it or report it, right? And this is all in the process of just improving our wonderful products. And the last question we have here is, how do I make the best use of the customer care AI chatbot? So Lior, she did a great job in showing you guys the flow as far as making sure you end up in the right place. Um, and using specific keywords like Velo, Wix blocks, APIs will for sure help. So, I would keep this presentation for you guys. I would keep it handy and revisit it anytime you just want a refresher on how to get where you need to go when you're contacting customer support. And yep, that's it for me, guys. It was awesome talking with you guys, and I'm gonna pass it off back to Emmy now.
Great. Thanks so much, Janae. I know I said no questions, but maybe this is one that we can answer live, that you guys might know the answer to. So Tony from Planet Earth is asking that instead of a clone site, can they send a test URL? I'm assuming for like a test site.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, you can definitely send a test site to us. I guess you're referring to like the release candidates and things like that. Yeah, you can send that as well. But again, just for your own sake or for your own sanity, seeing if you can reproduce the issue on another just clean site will help. Well, it'll help us to determine what the underlying issue is, because it might be something specific to the site or it might be something specific to the function.
Awesome. Thanks so much. All right, that's all we had for today. I hope this gave you guys some transparency into our internal workings and how we work through these issues. We know it's not a perfect system by any means, but I also want to just say that like the CCIQA teams and people are, I think, some of the best and most like hardworking at Wix that I have personally interacted with. And I know that we also want to make the system better. So any feedback we will take to heart and is welcomed in the community. Thank you so much for supporting the product and taking the time to submit bugs and make the product better. We hope to see you soon in the community. The slides will be posted with any relevant links for you to reference later on in about a day or so. So keep an eye on that. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Thank you so much all for watching.